A night shift security guard arrives at an old hospital and is guided into a restricted locked ward by a calm, unsettling nurse who treats fear like a routine symptom. As the halls tighten, the rules get stranger, and a terrified visitor appears where no visitor should be. The guard realizes the ward isn't just locked to keep people out. It's locked to keep something in, and the nurse is proud of how well it works. Chapter 1. The Hospital That Never Feels Asleep. My shift started with rain. The kind that makes streetlights look like they're drowning. The city hospital rose out of the fog like a block of concrete that had given up on pretending it was clean. I was night security. Doors, cameras, radios, keys. Simple job, simple rules. But the call I got wasn't simple. Restricted ward check. Do not go alone. Inside the lobby, the air smelled like old sanitizer and damp paper. The vending machine was broken. The chairs were empty. The front desk light flickered like it was tired. That's when I saw her. A nurse behind the desk, standing too straight. White uniform. Gloves. A clear face shield with a long crack down the side. She smiled like she'd been waiting for me specifically. "You're late," she said, calm as a clock. I told her I was right on time. She didn't argue. She just pointed at a wall map and tapped the part marked Ward C restricted. "I'll escort you," she said. "It's policy." I didn't remember that policy. But she was already walking, and the building felt like it was leaning in to listen. Chapter 2. The Locked Ward Rules. The door to the locked ward was metal, thick, and scratched around the handle like something had tried to leave using its bare hands. She entered the code without looking at the keypad, like she'd done it 1,000 times. Inside, the hallway lights were low and yellow. Cameras sat in the corners, and every door had a small window, like the rooms were cages that needed checking. At the nurse station, charts were everywhere. Not organized. Not normal. Just piles. The nurse placed a heavy tool on the counter, a spike hammer, like it belonged next to pens and pills. I stared at it. She noticed and smiled wider. "For maintenance," she said. "Things break down here." Then she started listing rules in a voice that didn't change at all. 1. Do not open a door if you hear laughter. 2. Do not answer a voice that uses your name. 3. If the lights flicker 3 times, stand still and wait. I asked who made those rules. She leaned closer, face shield catching the light. "I did," she said, "because I'm the one who keeps order." Chapter 3. A Visitor Who Shouldn't Exist. We moved deeper into the ward. The air got colder, and the quiet wasn't peaceful. It was controlled. In a small waiting area, I saw someone sitting under harsh light. A woman with a visitor badge, hands clenched tight, eyes darting like she was measuring distance to every exit. A visitor. In a locked ward. At this hour. I stepped toward her, but the nurse casually shifted her body into my path like a practiced habit. Not aggressive. Just final. The visitor spoke fast, low. "Don't listen to her. She keeps changing what's true. She keeps saying it's for our health." The nurse turned her head slowly toward the visitor, still smiling. "You're not supposed to talk during observation." Observation. Like she was describing weather. We passed a wall phone dangling off the hook, and I swear I heard faint breathing in the line. The nurse didn't even glance at it. She stopped at a medicine cart, one hand resting on it, the other settled on the spike hammer handle. "Compliance," she said, like she was teaching me the most important word in the building. "That's what keeps people safe here." I looked at the visitor again. Her face said she had learned the cost of arguing. Chapter 4. The Basement Archive. The nurse took me down to the basement. The stairwell smelled like wet concrete and rust. A single bulb swung overhead, throwing shadows that moved even when we didn't. In the basement corridor, old wheelchairs lined the wall like they were waiting for someone to sit down and never get up. Pipes dripped steadily, counting time. We entered a storage room labeled Archive. The nurse opened a metal cabinet and pulled out a folder. Thick, dusty, heavy with history. I asked what it was. She said, "Records. The kind people pretend don't exist when the daylight staff is around." Then she led me into an old procedure room. One overhead lamp, stained tile, a metal table. The spike hammer sat beside neatly arranged instruments like it had a reserved spot. On a desk, a tape recorder waited with a red light glowing. The nurse reached for it. I put my hand up without thinking. "What's on that?" Her voice stayed soft. "Proof." She pressed play anyway. All I heard at first was tape hiss. Then a voice. Strained. Afraid. Talking about rules that changed, doors that locked on their own, and a nurse who smiled through every complaint like pain was an inconvenience. I looked at her. She didn't flinch. She didn't look ashamed. She looked proud. Chapter 5, 3 Flickers. When we returned to the ward, the lights flickered once, twice, 3 times. My body remembered her rule before my mind could argue. I stopped. The nurse stopped too, perfectly still, like a statue in a uniform. The visitor was gone from the waiting area. The hallway felt longer than it had before, as if the building had shifted while we were underground. I tried my radio. Static. I tried again. More static, louder, like a warning. At the nurse station, a monitor showed the hallway camera feed looping with a delay. For a second, I saw the nurse on the screen standing in one place while in real life, I felt her presence closer than that. The intercom crackled. A voice tried to form words, then broke into fragments. My name slipped through the noise like a hook. The nurse lifted her head toward the speaker and listened like it was a bedtime story. Then she looked at me, calm as ever, and adjusted her gloves with slow care. The spike hammer hung at her side, not swinging, not shaking. "Now," she said, "you're going to do exactly what I tell you. Because if you don't, the ward gets loud." She took one step toward the exit corridor. The exit sign glowed at the far end, but the door beneath it was chained. I understood something in that moment that I didn't want to understand. This place wasn't built to heal people. It was built to keep them manageable. And she wasn't a nurse the way normal people mean it. She was the night shift's idea of mercy. If you made it this far, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so you don't miss the next story, and hit the like button if you want more psychological horror like this. Drop a comment with the moment that creeped you out the most, and share this video with a friend who never skips the ending.